Hello and welcome to Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. Today, we will speak with the head coach of the New York Sirens about building a strong foundation for New Jersey sports. But first, we have Zack Dabby, CEO of New Jersey Youth Soccer, and his son Zack Dabby, founder of Every Kick Counts, a platform to support children with special needs through awareness and inclusion. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I am going to start with you because how awesome, you're how old?
17.
To create something that profound so young is so cool.
Yeah, I've had a lot of help, but it's really fun. Enjoyed it.
What was the inspiration behind creating your foundation?
So I started with a program called Challenger Sports about 6 years ago, I think. And I met my friend Jack. He's a player with special needs. Challenger Sports is a program where children with special needs are paired with buddies and they play sports, soccer, basketball, and baseball throughout the year. Through Challenger Sports, I've created a very, very special bond with Jack. We text regularly, we hang out, our families are now friends, and it's just a really special bond to me. But not everyone's had the opportunity to create those bonds through those programs, so I wanted to create Every Kick Counts to give everyone the chance to meet players and just create friendships that will benefit them in the long term.
That is so beautiful. You have tears in your eyes. Of course you do.
Well, I'm going to keep it together for him today, but yeah, nothing comes easy, and there's a lot of lessons, but it was certainly exciting to see how it all came together.
You obviously had a good example in your dad. So talk about how you started your movement in youth soccer.
So I've had two employers in my life, Major League Soccer and New Jersey Youth Soccer, so that's the last 30 years, but I feel like I've had a new job every year just because things evolve. So my job with New Jersey Youth Soccer is part of overseeing the infrastructure for what is currently more than 120,000 players throughout the state, 400 member clubs, 10 leagues, with programs for players with disabilities, as Zach mentioned, through Top Soccer, as well as competitive programs, rec, travel, 10,000 coaches throughout the state. So, just trying to use what we call the beautiful game and the World Cup around the corner to show how everyone can benefit and live through soccer.
Soccer is all the rage right now, but the sport is gaining in popularity daily. Why is that?
I like to think of it just because it's provided me a lifetime of memories of a career. It's not just about playing, but that's a lot of it. I grew up playing soccer. I played through college. That was my friendships. That was my network. So if we look at it about from the health and awareness, if we look at it about what it can do for you physically, mentally, socially, it's something that I hope everyone can enjoy. I've done it. Zach's talking about how he's benefiting from it. So I like to look at it more than just the sport. Certainly some will go on to play. We'll see some of the best in a very short time with the World Cup, but it's way more than that.
Yeah, cultural too, because I think just the demographics in the state are changing and people are coming in from countries where soccer is it.
I think we're going to see, for those of us in New Jersey and candidly throughout the country, we're going to see a new side of sport and of culture, right? There's going to be festivals in every city. It's not just the games at New York, New Jersey Stadium, as we're calling it now. We'll have events at the American Dream Mall, Sports Illustrated Stadium. There's festivals left, right, and center. So we're just excited to help bring the culture because we know not everyone's going to be able to get to the stadium. Certainly we're going to be able to watch it, and we're really trying to complement what's going on throughout the state and be part of all these festivals that are happening. And the host committee has certainly been part of that through their work and the EDA. $5 million given to communities to activate and create some celebration. So we're just looking to enable, empower, and communicate and let everyone know where to find it.
You remember, obviously, when the World Cup was here in 1994. I was young, even younger than you right now. You were not born yet. You were not even a dream. And it was really cool. Italy was in the final against Brazil. Unfortunately, Italy lost.
I do recall.
Yes, it was very sad for me and my family. Now Italy's not even playing, right? They're missing their third straight World Cup, which is like sacrilege. But anyway.
Unheard of. Unbelievable.
Unheard of.
But a whole nother story for another segment.
Another day, yes. What's your perspective on this whole global party coming here to your backyard?
I'm really excited. I've loved soccer for 17 years of my life, and this is the peak. This is the best it's going to get. So and I can't think of a better time. Summer's going to be really fun. We got one game, but hopefully go to a bunch of watch parties, hang out with my friends, and I can't wait.
Are you activating the foundation in any way when the World Cup is here?
So our 2026 event is right after the World Cup final, start of August. So hopefully we get some of the World Cup buzz on the back end and get a lot of people involved. And we're hoping to capitalize on all the soccer interest.
You've raised thousands during your foundation's annual event. So what's the theme this year?
It's a little bit more of the same in New Jersey because it went really well the first year. I was very happy with how it turned out. But this year we expanded into 3 other state associations in Massachusetts, Virginia, and Connecticut. I'm hoping that the Every Kick Counts events in those state associations stick. I hope they do as well as we did in New Jersey. And I think if that's what we get for this year, it'll be more than happy.
What impact have you seen so far?
We maxed out participation last year. We're working on it this year. Obviously, we're looking to raise more money. The goal is just to keep pumping our money into programs for children with special needs, just to keep it going and keep it growing.
And how does Dad help in furthering your mission?
He helps a lot. Obviously, starting something new, it's tough. Couldn't have done without him, but I'm learning more every day, hopefully become more independent. Definitely working on that already.
Talk about the kids that you've been able to help.
Challenger Sports and Every Kick Counts help serve a whole range of players with different abilities. The greatness about foot golf is that it's so adaptable, and everyone can play at their own speed, their own pace, their own level. The majority of players at Every Kick Counts had autism, but we even had one athlete who was in a wheelchair. He went through the whole course, he had a ton of fun. He had a little bit of help, but he got into every single hole. They had so much fun. Everyone just really enjoyed it because how foot golf is just able to be played by anyone.
So you mentioned foot golf. I don't know what foot golf is. Is this a new phenomena? Is this like the next pickleball?
Hopefully. But foot golf, it's relatively newer, but it's just like normal golf, but instead of hitting it with the club, you kick a soccer ball into a hole across the course. And anyone can do it, though.
And we created even a foot golf championship out of that. So to your point, it's nice to adapt the sport, and we have one event at the Crystal Springs Resort at the end of the summer, just for fun. But yeah, you have kids that are getting to the golf course, playing it in a different way, enjoying the sport of soccer.
Oh, well, that's what it's all about, obviously. As father and son, what's it like working together towards a shared mission?
Zack is a teenager, and guess what? Teenagers like to do teenager things. So, you know, what he accomplished raising $10,000 and bringing this opportunity to other states, can't be understated. And candidly, as a father, it's taught about you get out what you put in. He estimated putting in over 100 hours, and that's the only reason for success. So as a parent, I look at this exercise of saying, by persevering, by going out there, by putting yourself out there like this and everywhere else, that's the only way to be successful. It doesn't just fall in your lap.
Definitely not.
I think back to the first time when I had to start fundraising. I walked into the Audi dealership on Route 9. And I went in, I pitched my idea, and fortunately it worked out. We got a lot of support. I think probably being 16 at that time with the passion I had, it was very helpful having the support that I had.
I can only imagine that. It's awesome. I want to talk more about the youth soccer landscape here. Mm-hmm. You're very calm, and I think you need that, like dealing with parents and their expectations. How do you keep everything at an even keel?
The youth soccer is about playing, right, at the core of it. I have a son and a daughter, and that's the most important thing. You know, Tab Ramos, one of the New Jersey greats, I've heard him talk about what's important, and I remember him telling parents, is like, is your child having fun? Are they playing? If so, that's what you should be looking for. You're right. The challenges, there's some cultural challenges that we have beyond soccer, and it creates some environments that are not ideal. We see stuff virally about acting out, treatment of referees, I think we're one piece of the puzzle, but we try to highlight the good. Individuals that are raising money for players with disabilities, the goal of the year celebration, the comeback player of the year. These are things that we try to highlight and help frame it in that light.
Are you working with any other foundations and organizations to raise money to make sure that soccer is accessible to everyone?
Yeah, diversifying revenue has been a huge part. We're beyond proud that we haven't raised our registration fees in 10 years. And I think for those of us that think about paying for anything, not to have increased the cost for 10 years is something we're proud of. So we got a grant from the state of New Jersey this year. We have incredible support from corporate partners like RWJ Barnabas Health and JAG Physical Therapy, so many New Jersey-based companies working with the likes of Bank of America and New York Life. That's really the key, because we do want to make it accessible. We do want to make it affordable. And I think we're doing a great job combating that trend.
Yeah, absolutely. Where can people find out more about the foundation and to donate and support?
So we have our website, everykickcounts.org. Actually, my friend created it. Something I'm really excited about is that this year I've gotten to incorporate many of my friends into this project, because one part of growth is involving more people. Our Instagram page, everykickcounts25, and we got a Facebook page too. And our donation and registration is in the works of getting ready, but we're working on that.
Oh, yeah. Such a good group of kids.
Yeah.
You guys are. I could only hope my son and daughter are the same way in all the ways you are. And then, of course, where can we find out more about youth soccer in New Jersey?
Yeah, similarly on our social media and our website, njusoccer.com. Yeah, it's been great to see the growth of the recent years and the engagement, whether it's volunteers, the corporate partners and brands. That's what we rely on to grow both participation and access and inclusion.
Well, have a wonderful time at the World Cup at New York. It should really be New Jersey, New York Stadium. Let's be for real. But of course, the guys across the river, they want to steal our thunder, right? Yeah. But we'll see you at the stadium, and we just hope for the best, most exciting World Cup that's ever been.
And we have one gift for you if you don't.
Oh yeah, I love gifts always.
We have Every Kick Counts jersey.
Oh,
from.
Thank you.
No, we're not going to give you an event-worn one. But
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I will wear it proudly. Thank you. Women's hockey continues to reach new heights, and one of the people helping lead that growth is right here in the Garden State. Joining us now is Greg Fargo, head coach of the New York Sirens of the Professional Women's Hockey League. Coach Fargo, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
You are an adoptive Jersey boy.
I am.
You're only 2 years here, so tell us how you journeyed here to the Garden State.
Yeah, it's been a little under 2 years that my family and I moved to New Jersey, but prior to this stop, I spent 12 years at Colgate University, where I coached the Division I women's hockey program there and had a couple other stops along the way in college hockey. But I'm originally from Kingston, Ontario, so coming down here to Jersey, it's been great. We've really enjoyed it, but big changes for our family.
I'm sure. Why women's hockey?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, when I got into it probably 18 years ago, it was really a sport that was still emerging in a lot of ways. And I had some great mentors back at that time, and consulting with them, there was a lot of discussion about where the women's game was headed at the time and some of the opportunities in the game, and especially something like coaching could take on. So I made a real strategic move at the time, but one that I look back upon with great memories, and I'm really pleased that my path has led me here. It wasn't really on my list to be coaching professional hockey at the time, but one step after another, and just the way that women's hockey has grown, here we are. It's led to this great journey that we've been able to enjoy.
Did you yourself play?
I did. I grew up playing minor hockey back in Ontario.
I think everyone does, right?
Yeah,
it's a rite of passage up there.
It is very much a rite of passage. I think I had skates on my feet at 3 years old, and very much grew up in a sports community, a hockey community. My dad played, family members played, so it was something that we all rallied around. That led me through junior hockey and then off to college, and one thing led to another. Once college ended, I wanted to become a teacher, or I thought I did, and that path and the passion that I had for hockey really led me right right to coaching.
So you know the men's hockey world very well. Obviously the women's. What's the big difference that you see?
Well, the game itself has a lot of similarities, and the women's game just continues to get better year after year. We've seen the talent level grow, year after year. There continues to be great young players coming into our league, coming into college hockey, but the skill, the speed, the hockey sense of these players is off the charts. It's better than it's ever been, and then the future looks really bright. The thing that fans would notice is the checking. There's no body checking in women's hockey, or at least at the youth levels and in college. Pro hockey, we allow our players to play a little bit more. There's a little more physicality, and the fans seem to really enjoy that.
The fans are coming out.
They are.
You have Hannah, who we love, head of your PR, and she was telling us how just as the season went on, attendance grew and grew and grew.
Yeah, it's been incredible. I mean, my 2 short years in the league, it's tangible. You can see the growth of the sport in the stands by people coming out and representing and supporting the game. I think even this past year, when I look back at our season, we had the wonderful game at MSG on April 4th, had over 18,000 people come to that game, which was extremely exciting. But then just building off the momentum of the Olympics, and I think there's a lot of stats that show after every Olympic Games that the support for our sport, it grows, but we could feel that in the rink. And coming back to Prudential, post-Olympics, we broke some attendance records, seemed like week after week. More people that want to come out, support not only women's sports, but women's hockey.
And you're giving little girls a dream to aspire to.
Yeah.
When I was little, there was no girls playing hockey, but now little girls that have an affinity for the sport can actually go and play.
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest benefits of this league, the PWHL, and what it's doing. I mean, now girls like my own daughter who's 11 and plays, and she now can see a direct path to not just college hockey, but to professional hockey. When you ask her what she wants to do growing up, she wants to play in the PWHL. So for little girls to have that clear pathway, it gives them something to aspire to, and I think that's one of the greatest things about what this league has done. The connection between the players on our team, in our league, with the fans, with the young players. I think they can really see themselves becoming that in the years to come. It's incredible. So I think it really lends itself not only to the fan experience, but also it makes it feel like the women's game is in a great spot for many, many years to come.
How do the Sirens get out into the community and do that outreach?
Yeah, that's an ongoing effort for all of our players, and we've got a whole business team in place that does a great job to help connect our players with the community themselves, whether it's in-game activities, post-game activities between the players and fans themselves, and it seems like every day. We obviously come together and we practice every day as a team, but outside of the hours our players spend at the rink, they're often in the community, interacting with everybody, getting the word out there about the New York Sirens and everything that's going on in women's hockey. So that connection is real, and our players work extremely hard at it.
Judging by your commercials, we were just talking about they're the best set of commercials we've ever seen. You have a lot of personality on your team and great ambassadors to help carry that message out there.
Without a doubt. Yeah, that's the greatest part about our team. We've got a lot of different people coming from, all over North America, Europe, different personalities, different people that can really connect with our fan base. I think that's the thing, is we've got some really young, exciting, talented people. And I think if you're a fan of the New York Sirens and you come to the rink, you can see that on the ice, but then when you get an opportunity to connect with them, you can see their personalities shining, and I think it's so great for our fans to be able to experience that.
You've been with the Sirens since its early days. Yeah. Talk about building the team.
Yeah, it's an ongoing thing in a league that continues to grow. We're once again expanding with 4 new teams in the league this year. But for the New York Sirens alone, we've shown a lot of growth. In year 1, it was a team that was operating out of Chelsea Pierce in Stamford, Connecticut. Since then, we moved over here to West Orange at Cody Arena, where we practice every day. And so in a lot of ways, the early years have been about building a really strong foundation. But I think the one thing that we're really proud of this past season is that we've been able to take, a strong foundation and build it into really strong team identity. And so I think as our team becomes more established, you're starting to see that product take shape on the ice. And hopefully we're representing New Jersey and New York in a great way, in the same way on the ice as off.
Your home base is Prudential Center, where the New Jersey Devils play. How do the Devils help amplify the Sirens?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've got a great relationship with the Devils, and I think the first thing is being able to work out of the Prudential Center each and every day. It's such an advantage for us to be in an NHL building and to work so collaboratively with them. I think, there's been some games this past season where, they'll play at 1 o'clock and we'll have a 7 o'clock game. And so for them to be able to promote, the Sirens and what's happening at Prudential Center in that way, I think it's allowed us to tap into a fan base that otherwise may not know about New York Sirens hockey. So for us, that partnership's really valuable, and we've seen it grow over the 2 years that we've been at Prudential, and we're confident it'll continue to grow. But they've been a great host for us.
What were some of the biggest areas of growth in reflecting back on your season? Where did you grow the most?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think a lot of areas. It's to be honest, and we didn't end up in a position in the standings where we wanted to be yet. But just from a cultural standpoint, I think we made some really great strides there. We have some great leaders in place. And now some more foundational players on our team that we know we're going to be growing with for years to come. So I think with now that we're in a good spot in terms of having the right people, having players that fit our identity on the ice, we hope that that's something that is going to translate into more success on the ice in the years to come. But we were able to have a great draft last year. We brought in some really good talent, some exciting players, some real offensive talent, and we think that as they continue to grow in this league and get more comfortable, it's going to really help bolster our spot in the standings, and we want to be competing for a Walter Cup here very shortly.
What's it called? The Walter Cup?
The Walter Cup.
Why is it named that?
Well, Mark Walter and his wife, the founders of our league, they're the ones that the cup was named after.
Okay,
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
What inspired them to start the league?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Mr. Walter and his advisory board, people that like Billie Jean King, who are very involved in women's sports, obviously, saw a real good opportunity with professional women's hockey, and some of the players that have been around in our sport for a long time worked with Mr. Walter, his advisory group, to get things off the ground. I think for everyone, it's just the opportunity that women's hockey provided at the professional level. You could see how the WNBA has become so successful, and now the NWSL, and so for women's hockey to have its own professional league this time, and for women's hockey to be taking off, and women's sports, professional sports, to be taking off, I think the timing was right, and obviously we had the right people to support it.
They recognize the huge opportunity. You just see this area. There's the Sirens, there's Gotham FC, the New York Liberty. Do you all band together sometimes and do like super collabs?
Yeah, I see a lot of collaboration between, especially our players and their players. We're always going out to the games and supporting one another.
What's the rest of your calendar look like going into 26 fall and 27?
Yeah, it's right now it's a busy time because we're right in the middle of the expansion process. So those 4 new teams have been formed, and right now they're in the midst of selecting players from the existing teams in the league. So we're right in the middle of that, and then shortly here to come, we've got the draft, the entry draft. So the players that are graduating from college will be coming into our league next year. So a lot of work to be done in the off season to finalize our roster. But ourselves as coaches, we're working hard in the off season to make sure that we can make some of those adjustments and tweaks just to be ready for when training camp opens in November.
Do you know when your first game is?
No, the schedule won't be released probably for a few more months, I would imagine.
Okay.
So. yeah, it's always an exciting day when the schedule comes out. We'll see where we're going, but
How many games do you play in a season?
yeah, last season we played 30 games, and the
lot.
season prior we played 30. So it is a lot, but it's a reasonable number, and I think with the new teams coming into the league, we'll see how it all shakes out. But yeah, whatever number they throw at us, we'll be excited to play them, and I just can't wait to get back in front of our fan base and continue to build off the momentum that existed after last season.
I know your roster contains people from all over the country, if not the world.
Yeah.
Any homegrown New Jersey talent?
Yeah, well, the one that most fans know about is Casey O'Brien, who spent her early years right in Manhattan, and that's been really neat for her to be able to come home. And when we had the game at MSG, she obviously got a great homecoming there when her name was introduced. But we've got a few players from New York, and hopefully we can continue to build that and keep giving people a reason to come out and support some homegrown players of the New York Sirens.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, where can people find out more about the Sirens and to get tickets once they're released?
For sure, the pwhl.com is the league website that'll lead you to the Sirens and everything you need to know about the league. And as the weeks go by here in the off season, the schedule gets released. I'm sure you can follow that on our social media channels as well. So lots of great information out there, and hopefully we can continue to grow the fan base.
Coach Fargo, this was so much fun. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing the Sirens succeed next season.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. We'll see you back here next week.